Welcome to Disney+Pals.
When Captain and Falcon throws his mighty shield, all those who oppose his shield must yield. So, unless you're a plane or a bomb or some ice or Zemo or Sharon Carter or Carly, you don't necessarily have to yield, especially when it comes to Carly, because he won't kill her.
I feel like if you threw the shield hard enough at Sharon's face, it'd probably cave in her skull. But other than that, you're good.
That's kind of an unoptional yielding right there.
Or just, just do it repeatedly until, like, strawberry jam pops out.
I mean, that comes with the skull caving in.
A red skull,
Although the last guy, the last Captain America, we kind of had an issue with that. So, really it wouldn't be good if on first mission he's like, oh, hey, person I think is a friend. Bam! But I have a question. Are all of Marvel's Phase 4 things going to end with one of the main characters now wearing a white costume?
No, well, I think actually...
It happened in WandaVision.
Yeah.
It happened here, and it looks like it's happening in Black Widow.
I think that actually what you're trying to say is, like in WandaVision, at the end of it, she got in her, Wanda Scarlet Witch costume.
Oh, no, I'm talking about Vision specifically.
I know what you're talking about, but I think that the smarter one would be, them getting their comic book costumes,
Well,
that could also be a thing.
The next
Comic
Spider-Man
books and
film with
whiteness.
him in the Future Foundation
outfit
decked out in all white, and
First,
into Fantastic
Scarlet
Four.
Witch. Now,
I would love
Captain
to see
America,
the Future Foundation suit, though.
Phase 5. Well, later.
Later is okay. Later is wonderful. But yeah, guys, welcome to the final episode of Falcon and Winter Soldier, aka Stop Picking on Wyatt Russell, the show.
We love you, Wyatt Russell. We love you.
Wyatt the hotel. Who's
doing
her
such a great
or
job.
the Hyatt.
Wyatt Russell plays John Walker.
I know. I'm just making a joke.
Well, just to recap the episode real fast, I'm joined by Jack, Squid, and Callum. I know there was a pause after Jack. What if I would have just said I'm joined by Jack?
No one else, just me and my two split personalities.
We're all imaginary. This is all a hallucination.
We're in the Matrix,
or
we're in Inception or something.
I have never done drugs in my life, but I have seen some weird shit in the morning when I'm first waking up.
Yeah, actually. Yeah, I've seen some weird dreams lately, though. Yeah.
I've not done anything hard enough to break through the Matrix. That's another tier.
You need the blue pill.
We need to meet up with Morpheus. I hear he's friends with Ant-Man and Dr. Hank Pym.
Hope we see him later down the line.
But to recap, this episode is mostly just one massive fight scene, and I mean that in the best way. It's a really good fight scene. But, so I can't really go in order as I synopsisize, so I'm just going to talk about the big shit. First of all, Batroc the Leaper and Carly discovered that Jack was right all along, and friggin' Sharon Carter is the power broker.
Bell! Yeah, he's right, but I really wanted Zemo to come in at the... I know what's going to happen.
He come in at the end. He still came in.
Yeah.
I know, but that probably is going to set up,
Speaking of coming in and 180ing, speaking of our predictions, that thing I predicted about Carly being redeemed and then John, going bad, total 180. They instead showed that John isn't a terrible person and did let Carly die, which I actually think is better.
Wow.
Agreed.
I know.
I think I called it from
Smoke it, fans.
at the start of this episode when she's on the call with Bucky and says, "I'm willing to die for my cause. Are you?" I'm like, okay, well, she's gonna die. So the logical thing to do with her character at that point of, I'm willing to risk it all. I've got nothing else to live for other than this. It's like,
Mm.
okay, that's where her character's going to go, and I was just sort of waiting for that for the whole episode. But it was done well. I loved Sam coming in at the end of that.
I agree with you full-heartedly. I can't wait to talk about that more. We see Captain America, and God, that's Captain America. Sam
Yeah,
Anthony Mackie nails it. Bucky finally talks to his friend and tells him the truth, finishes the notebook. Zemo gets one last laugh from prison while reading a book. U.S. agent is born, and the final scene, the scene that made my friend Pat cry, and almost made me cry, because what this means in terms of the comics as well, Isaiah Bradley will never be forgotten. And that is emotional.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, also there's a cookout at the end.
I know. Actually, I'm from Louisiana, so I've been to those cookouts before.
Which
Hey!
will never be forgotten.
Actually, both me and Anthony Mackie are from the same town.
Oh, very nice.
Nice. Tell us about the food. We want to know the culture. Did they get it right?
I mean, yeah, I have also been to Louisiana, and I don't live there, obviously, but yeah, it looks like they nailed it. I love how swampy friggin' Sam's house looked.
A quick question I've got about that.
Of course.
Of course. What was that, Jack?
A quick question I've got about that. Is Falcon in the comics from Louisiana, or is this just because Anthony Mackie is so... We'll speak where exactly he's from. And
here's the thing. I am a comic book reader. I have no idea where a lot of these people are from.
That's fair.
The only characters I know for sure is Spider-Man is from Queens, Captain America is from Brooklyn, and Hawkeye is from Iowa. That's all I know.
Being a Brit, I don't know where half those locations are anyway, so that's fine.
I mean, I know. I've been to New York. I know.
I mean, same, but I couldn't point out Queens and
York
Brooklyn
too.
on a map of New York. That's
Right.
a bit above my pay grade.
I mean, I feel that. I don't know if Sam is from Louisiana. It is possible. I do like, however, that literally there was a point where he was talking to Isaiah Bradley, and he's like, I get it. I'm from the South. But yeah, let's just dig into this episode fully. God, I'm like stumbling on my words today.
Fully.
What did we think about the Captain America suit? How do we feel about that?
Which one? The U.S. agent or Falcon one?
Definitely Falcon.
Okay, well, I think it actually looks straight ripped out from the comics. When I first saw that image and first saw it go into the show, I thought it was exactly ripped straight out of the image.
I just want to quickly interject. I just quickly Googled it. Sam Wilson is from Harlem in the comics. New York.
Oh, okay, so
No,
not the South.
No, but I like that decision, because again, it means Anthony Mackie doesn't have to put on an accent or anything. He can just play himself.
Yeah, definitely true. I like that as well. Plus, Luke Cage is from Harlem, so this way we cover more of the Marvel universe. Like if everyone's from different places.
And it means that he and Gambit can be friends when the X-Men are introduced.
Yeah, they could hang out.
You need some crawfish together.
And then Juggernaut comes in, and he also eats the crawfish.
He eats
But
the
he
whole
says,
shit. He
"I'll do it."
just like...
He's got to say bitch while eating the crawfish.
Or bitch!
You just have his theme music from Deadpool playing in the background as he does.
Holy
You know?
shitballs, crawfish.
You can't stop this motherfucker.
He's enjoying some crawfish.
Bitch!
I regret bringing this up now. This is already quite far off tangent. Let's how many minutes in are we?
I think...
Not that far in. You have me imagining a superhero barbecue now. You've set me up for disappointment.
After university, when I've got the time, I'll draw you that fan art, Neil. We'll be fine.
Okay, you know what? When this whole pandemic is over, I think for the next Comic-Con, like, everyone get in a superhero outfit to this, like, set up a barbecue or, like, a shawarma or something like that.
Love that. Get some shawarma.
The Captain Falcon suit, yeah.
Yeah, what did we think of the... You almost had me say it. The Captain America suit.
That's my joke. The Captain... Oh, man, this is going to be so confusing. Captain American Falcon. Stuff you, I'm going to say it like that. The Captain American Falcon suit is quite snazzy. It's white with red and blue to signify sort of rebirth, as well as that good old-fashioned American patriotism. And it's kind of similar to the Iron Patriot suit, which made part of me think, why didn't Rhodes take up the job? He would have been good with the shield. But either way, Falcon looks awesome with the red, white, and blue, as well as taking on the shield, which he managed to train well to gain flight, the jetpack presumably from Wakanda, as well as handle the shield. Talk about multitasking. We theorized that the shield would be molded into the wings, but he found a way to use the shield and the wings, so good on you.
Those wings are vibranium now, so I will be watching. I will be watching every scene they're in and being like, if you break those fucking wings, I swear to God.
Did you see the Falcon Captain America in the comics before, or is this your first time seeing it?
As far as I know, this is my first time.
Okay.
That is basically the costume.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, that's why I pretty much said.
There is a little bit different in between the two things, but just like how Scarlet Witch basically got her comic book costume, this is pretty accurate.
Right. It seems that a lot of characters are getting their comic-accurate costumes as of late.
That's what I said. There was like, and who's next? Like, is Loki? Actually, I think Loki's actually starting to get his.
Hawkeye, please God, Hawkeye.
Lucky, you might be lucky.
Well, if Loki is next on the docket and it is doing a alternate timeline multiverse-esque thing, we might fully well see him in green spandex at some point.
He's kind of already had his costume though. Like,
yeah, I think that Avengers might have been actually pretty accurate. The Avengers one.
Well, Avengers in the first Thor, yeah.
We really need to focus on Falcon and Winter Soldier, but since we've seen the President Loki and there are rumors that we're seeing Lady Loki in the show, maybe instead of getting one concrete costume, we just get like 12 different Loki costumes.
Talking of Falcon.
Yes, I liked the outfit. I do think my initial thought was, is great reveal. You see him flying overhead first, and you don't actually see it clearly until he gets into the fight. That was really good. But I think his neck and upper shoulders look really bulky to me. That's probably just because the wing pack and everything sort of built into it. As a backpack, it would have straps. But it just looked a little bit off to me. But the rest of it, absolutely love it.
I was trying to compare it to the first suit Cap had in Avengers. And I think this is a lot better than that outfit. I hesitate to say it's better than the one he got in Avengers 2 and sort of kept for the rest of his movies. But I love this new Cap suit. I love the wings. I love that there are points where he literally looks like an angel with those wings. It's a wonderful little bit of symbolism.
The white rebirth. That good one, Neil. That's a good one. Yes.
Yeah, but there's something we have to address. Callum, they referenced your Captain Falcon joke.
Falcon punch.
Yeah, that was weird to hear at 3 a.m.
Captain Falcon.
But also, I just want to talk about, I have one thing I really want to talk about in this. So I'm curious, is there anything super specific? Like, let's just throw out the script a little. Let's just cover specific thoughts and things we'd like to discuss. Jack,
Yeah,
I know you
script.
take notes about the series. Do you have anything specific you would like to bring up that you liked or disliked?
I only took
Well,
3 pages of notes here, so I've not got as much as I did on previous episodes because this was very action heavy, so it's more
3
focused on watching
pages?
than writing. Oh, well, they're not very well compacted notes, but you know. The first thing I wrote right at the start was, I love the consistency of the technology. Sharon comes in using the Disguiso mesh stuff that we saw back in The Winter Soldier. That was a very nice, like, I initially went, oh my gosh, oh wait, no, Black Widow's dead. Never mind.
Yeah.
I'm glad that we kept that around. It's brought up again in this episode. If it hadn't been mentioned again, I'd have ran with it as a crackpot conspiracy theory. But because it was mentioned again here, it is 100% I'm all in. Steve Rogers is on the moon.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say that. Like, as soon as Falcon says, "I'm Captain America," this guy has the strangest line that was like, yeah, I mean, it makes sense for them to come up with conspiracy theories. Like, what? I thought Captain America was on the moon. Like, that is such a bizarre line.
Torres said it in episode 1. This random government bodyguard guy said it this time. I'm all in. He's on some sort of sword or shield or scroll or something based on the moon. That's...
hanging out with Nick Fury's and drinking margaritas.
Yeah. On their holodeck beach.
So Steve
Here's the
Rogers
thing.
is retired with Nick Fury drinking margaritas on the moon.
I don't think he's retired.
Nick
I think he's
Fury's
a
gonna be
shield
like,
agent up there now.
Why'd you age so fast?
He
Well,
went back to have a nice life.
he lives like double a normal lifetime, so if anything, he's looking very good for 200 and something.
Yeah, honestly,
I
this
think
man
that's
is older than
200 and,
possible.
Wait.
Hmm.
They actually think it's 197. They said that there were 97 in Civil War, so or 90s in. So I think it would be 190 something.
But that's also playing with, you know, he was frozen in ice, so his body clock wasn't actually, you know,
Yeah,
chugging that whole
yeah.
time.
He was frozen in ice, so you gotta
Avatar:
add
The
all
Last
that up.
Airbender. The main character is 112 years old, you know? It's...
That's the way the cryogenic freezing works. Cryogenic freezing, everybody.
And
he
Master
earlier
Chief
said his
should
name,
be like about
would-
70 years old, like or 80.
Truly, I have no idea. With Bucky, it's actually harder to track because he was constantly taken in and out of like Frozen. So with Cap, it would be easier, but I don't know. He's an old ass man.
yeah.
He's a super old man on the moon.
But it doesn't matter because it doesn't matter if you're in cryos or you're out of it. You're still aging no matter what.
No, the whole thing is if you're frozen, you're not.
I mean,
That's
you're
how
not
you
aging. You're
survive. still
still aging like not biogenically. You're still
Right.
aging like through numbers.
Yeah, for numbers, but if they were like aging like through their bodies, they'd both be dead.
Yeah.
I know. I'm not talking about that.
The only 2 other things I've noted on this page were Batroc, yay! And then later, no. We'll get to that. And then I wrote down, die for your cause, as Bucky wants to do that, Callie. Carly's gonna die. So, called that.
Did you have anything about the episode that really stood out to you, though?
The Isaiah bits with...
Oh.
Yeah,
We'll get
we'll
to
talk
that.
about that when we get to that as well, because that's going to be a big thing.
Can we go back to what we think about U.S. Agent?
Yeah,
we
US
can
Agent,
talk
let's
about
talk that.
So here's the thing. I am very happy I was wrong. Because while watching Wyatt Russell's performance, I got one sort of phrase stuck in my mind this entire time. It was the road to hell is paved with good intentions.
Oh.
Oh, I.
Like for example, his friend died, and he wanted to avenge him, but he did it the wrong way. And then he talked to his family, and they were grieving him, and they were just happy that the person was dead who killed Lamar, They weren't actually dead. He suits up. He's going to go kill Carly. But what I love about this character is we are so used to like the villain story being, I'm a good guy, but there's going to be a turn. And once I take that turn, I'm not coming back. I'm the bad guy. This is what I believe. But here, you know, I hesitate to say that John Walker is a bad person. I think he just did a bad thing. And honestly, in that moment where he's like thinking about chasing after Carly and getting revenge, I understood. If he would have chased her, I would have got it. His best friend is dead and he's angry. But no, in that moment, he threw away all of those negative emotions because people were in danger and they needed him. And I gotta say, that's what a hero does.
Yeah.
I'm not justifying all the things that are bad that he did in this show, but I gotta say, I love how deep this character is. He's not just a villain. He is arguably a good guy who just does bad stuff, and he's deeper than just a villain. Wyatt Russell throughout this whole show has nailed this am I good or am I bad thing, and I think that's just going to be his character from now on. Is he going to make the right choice? Or is he going to make the wrong choice? And it's so interesting that we have a character that we don't know the answer for that. With Loki, he's going to make the wrong choice. With Cap, he's going to make the right choice. What is John Walker going to do? I have no idea, and I'm so excited to see.
A bit of a wild card, yeah.
Wait, does that make him an anti-hero? And I think that maybe with that woman, that what's her name again?
Val.
But don't call her that.
Turn into a pawn or something. He might be a good person, but he's definitely going to be a pawn.
That broke my heart at the end where he was so excited. He's like looking to his wife, they're hugging, and he's like, I still have a title. I'm the U.S. agent. And in my head, I'm just like, oh, buddy, they're going to make you do so much fucked up shit.
It's kind of like the Winter Soldier, actually.
Yeah, that's kind of what it is.
That'd be a good comparison going forward.
Time repeating itself.
I think the only point this episode where I was like, okay, episode, come on now, was when him and Bucky were doing jokes together, like they were talking about Abe Lincoln. And he literally like taps Bucky on the back as if they're buddies and have been buddies this whole time.
Yeah.
And I'm just sitting there like, no, Bucky doesn't like him.
They said we were friends. We're just in a mutual relationship, remember?
Yes, and you have a shot later in the episode where it's the three of them running down a hallway underground chasing after Carly.
I think I would have liked a scene where they're like together chasing after Carly. And friggin' like Bucky is trying to outrun him or something, and John Walker's like, slow down, I'm trying to help, and Bucky directly like attacks him or something and is like, look at what you did. How can you justify any of this? And then John explains himself a little and like talks about his friendship with Lamar, and then they team up. Then I would have accepted some buddy jokes, but as is, for me personally, it felt a little forced, but I still liked it. Funny Abe Lincoln joke.
That's the thing. I think you have to bear in mind with this series, because of all the behind-the-scenes stuff and COVID and whatnot, and they had to change and cut out a lot of stuff.
It actually inspired this.
It did not. It did not inspire this. They changed the story because of COVID. There was going to be a plot line about a viral attack, like a chemical weapon virus type plot.
Whoa!
And they realized, given the current state of the planet, maybe let's not do that. So a fair bit of story from the series has been cut. So things like that might have been in it. Things like, again, John did seem to sort of almost flip on a dime there, which is somewhat fitting of his character. But bear in mind, there were things that were cut, so there probably is a better whole. But this is the I don't want a Schneider cut type situation. I'm with you.
I don't.
I'm just judging it as is, and I know like we can give them some slack for that, but the final product, those questions are still there, and I'm still asking them. So I definitely still view it as a criticism, though.
And I think the showrunners have said they're fully on board for doing a season 2 of this show.
Wait, they are doing season?
Oh yeah, I have
The
heard
showrunners have said they are on board with doing a season 2 of this show. That's not a
yeah, but
there
it
is.
is not
That's not a
confirmed.
there's not. Yeah.
I thought
Up
with
there.
all these shows, with WandaVision only having one season, I thought that all these shows were going to be on one-off.
Well, the
No,
situation is
Loki confirmed is going to have 2 seasons.
Loki is confirmed for 2, but the thing that got this started was Marvel submitted WandaVision to the Emmys for a short series, like in the award category for that, but they didn't do that for this show, which means they're leaving it open to do a follow-up down the line. Otherwise, it wouldn't qualify.
I would love a season 2.
Yeah,
I'd be perfectly
that'd be
happy if
good.
you don't,
Yeah.
and we just see these characters all pop up in movies down the line. That'd be great as well.
Yeah, do
We'll
I
see.
think it needs a season 2 if they're all going to be in movies? No. Well, maybe specifically Winter Soldier. I'd love to see him get his own show. But as a whole, I thought this was... I'm still sticking with it. I like this better than WandaVision. And,
Did you know?
well, even though I gave WandaVision a 10 out of 10, and spoiler for the rankings, I will not be giving this episode a 10 out of 10. So I don't think it reached the incredible height that WandaVision did at one point, but consistently throughout the entire show, I have enjoyed it. I have been shaking after these episodes. I wasn't left screaming to the skies asking, what does this mean? I enjoyed every episode throughout, and honestly, I kind of want to go back and rewatch the whole series now that it's done.
Yeah, I've seen a few
You
people
know,
talking
I
about
think we
binging
should-
it now.
We should have watched Captain America Winter Soldier and Civil War before we watched the series.
I did.
Ow.
I also did.
Nice.
In fact, I kind of rewatched the entire MCU.
I was kind of
no.
waiting to do that before Black Widow, for a movie.
You know, it's funny you mentioned that. Is that I made a review video for my channel about what I thought of the show as a whole. I've ranked it lower than WandaVision, but I think I mentioned that the show could be seen as somewhat of a legacy piece of Captain America's history. We've seen the man, we see him do the deeds, but now we've seen his impact. Like, who's going to carry on the mantle? What's become of his best friends? And even other people who were only in his history briefly have come along, like Zemo and other people like that. So,
And don't
I
forget
think
his future.
I think this where we're talking about John Walker is very fitting, because I think the reason I liked this more than WandaVision is I think hands down this is the most human thing that has the MCU's name on it. Like, there are so many moments where these characters don't feel like superheroes, they just feel like people struggling, like Bucky needing to talk to the old man, Sam not being able to get a loan, this boat that in the grand scheme of things, like saving the world does not matter, but it means the world to Sam. And of course, like, friggin' Wyatt Russell, John Walker, he's one of the best examples of this, where he's given the role of Captain America. He is not worthy of it. He gives it his best shot. He fails. He loses so much because of it. And yet, at the end, he still wants to do good and help some people that he can help.
But the tragedy is, he's probably gonna not do it.
I mean, I don't know. I really am interested to see the ending of that character's story, because am I the only one who feels like this is the beginning for him?
Yes.
Like, he's going somewhere.
Maybe the Thunderbolt Rosses, please. The Thunderbolts.
I've had a wee look around at John Walker's story in the comics and stuff. I've not read any runs or anything, just had a sort of skim through. He is largely, US Agent is a character just on different teams or doing solo missions. He's not a straight-up villain. He's on the West Coast Avengers at some point. He joins Canada's equivalent of the Avengers at one point, which is hilarious. US Agent being in the Canadian superhero team. Desperate for members, I assume.
Wait,
But he's just sort of, to take a line from on his trailers when they talk about Civil War. It's like, oh, is it better to be dickishly stubborn or stubbornly dickish? John Walker is just sort of the dickishly stubborn guy. He still works with the heroes and does good, but he's very set in his ways. And I suppose that can be traced back to sort of military history.
From the comics I have read, John Walker, like, he does do more villainous stuff in the comics, but he's sort of like, honestly, the more and more I think about it, Wyatt Russell is fucking nailing it, because every time you see him, he's either the good guy or the bad guy, and you just kind of got to deal with it.
Cool.
You know, I don't exactly like him when he's the good guy, you know.
But that's okay. I think this is an interesting, like, even though it's similar, I think this is a new take on the character. And I think it's cool to think that, like, yeah, he's got the super soldier serum. He's going to be thrown in on either the Thunderbolts or whatever Val is setting up.
I got an
maybe
idea.
the Dark Avengers.
I got an idea. How about the Thunderbolts are going to be like how the Suicide Squad, how the DCU handled the Suicide Squad, and U.S. Agent is going to be like that, you know, that guy who keeps them under control? U.S. Agent is going to keep the Thunderbolts under control.
I would say he's more like Deadshot than Rick Flag, but literally the Thunderbolts are Marvel's Suicide Squad, so I get what you're saying here.
Ah.
I like the idea as well, you saying there that he is more flip-flopping between hero and villain. Can you imagine you're sitting watching whatever movie down the line, and just that black suit walks in. It's, okay, are you on our side? Are you a threat? What's going to happen?
I've been thinking about
nice
that
dynamic.
this whole time.
Again, that black suit looks great.
I was like, if he walks in a room, either A, he's going to hug you, or B, he's going to fight you.
Or even worse, he might kill you.
Or even
really
worse
valid.
than worse, he will kill you with a hug. That is too strong.
Yeah, that is the worst, though. That's when love kills you, and that sucks.
Oh.
But moving forward, again, this is the last thing I'll say about Wyatt Russell, because I feel like I could talk about him for hours, but my man, you did it. You nailed it, and I know half of the world hates you for it, but I have nothing of respect but respect for this guy. Like, this is such a cool character for the MCU to have. But moving forward, Jack, it is your time to shine. So Sharon Carter is the power broker.
Yeah.
How do we feel about this?
We'll address the post-credit scene as we're talking about this, because that's heavily intertwined.
Yeah, that's fine.
And I think that thankfully answers a question we brought up last time when I brought up this theory again of, but why didn't she kill Sam and Bucky and Zemo when they were having a sleepover there, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Because this way she got reinstated, she got pardoned, she's back in the loop of the US military government in some way. She wanted to get back to that position of power as well, rather than just, oh yeah, I run this little pirate city out in the middle of nowhere. Now, she's moving up in the world again.
Mm-hmm.
So that covers that hole we had. But no, I really liked how that was handled. I do like that none of our heroes, leads, or anyone knows that. It did mean the moment in the confrontation between her and Carly when Batroc walked in, I'm like, oh no, Batroc is so dead, because he's the only other character who knows this.
A
sure
single
enough,
tear for Batroc.
I know, Batroc Zilliper. Oh, we
I
lost
didn't
it.
know that was comic accurate suit.
Yeah. I mean, he's still running around in the purple and yellow.
They did what they could without looking ridiculous.
Yeah.
Even did some
Maybe
French
it could
puns.
have worked. Maybe it could have worked.
But no,
Look, I love Batroc the Leaper. I love him so much, but at the end of the day, he's a B-list Captain America supervillain. Let's just be happy John Walker didn't die. And you know what? He got more than one show. He got a movie, he got a show where he appeared twice. He had 3 appearances, which is more than we can say about some villains. So, shocker from Spider-Man Homecoming.
well, that's him being a legacy character and stuff, yeah.
But
yes, Sharon,
R.I.P.
working her way
Batroc.
up. Yes, Batroc, you will be missed. So yeah, so then when he died, I'm like, okay, so now Carly's the only character left, and I was expecting her to happen, sure enough. But Sharon being the one that offed her, I liked that idea, because it wasn't, at that point, we'd had US Agent be, when he has the choice between saving the truckload of politicians or going after Carly. I love that moment, because it's not just he makes the right choice and saves them, but how it's revealed to us down below at the fight scene going on with Bucky is we see he just throws away the shield. He's like, no, this is the most important thing right now. Not even being Captain America or anything. Nope, saving lives. Great.
Sorry.
It makes me love the character because, like, you know, once again, that's what heroes do. And I hesitate to call John Walker a hero, but, like, from the beginning, I've been trying to sympathize with this guy. Like, if someone killed my best friend, I don't know what I'd do. But just that moment where he throws away the shield, he looks to this person who he could kill, because let's be honest, he's a lot bigger than her, and they're both super soldiers. He probably could have taken out Carly. But
he put up a fight.
He instead decided, okay, people in danger. I'm a soldier. I'm not letting these people die.
Yeah.
And Carly was totally okay with letting those people die, so it really makes you question who was the villain, and the answer is Carly.
But I want to say, sorry. But I may not like him as a good person, but I do respect and appreciate his actions.
Yeah, he did the right thing. I agree with you.
I like power broker. Last thing to bring up then is now no one knows that Sharon's the power broker, and she's just going to be out there present in the MCU now, which is a nice angle. And now I imagine I'd quite like, because it'd be a fun idea that we, the audience, know this about her now. So whenever we see her in future films and stuff, we are aware of this information, but none of the characters in the story are. So you'll have her meeting up with Bucky and Sam later on in the story. It's like, oh yeah, I got pardons, I'm on this side, because they never knew there's anything shady going on with her before. So now we'll have this information. They can build up the mystery. It could be perhaps even a plot point in one film and then gets resolved in a later one because of the wonders of the MCU. It's like, oh, how did this government tech get out there in the world? And we'll just know. It's like, yep, we know already. It's just waiting for that penny to drop.
I'm not going to spoil the Hawkeye comics the show is based on. However, I do want to talk about one panel from issue 2 of the Hawkeye comics that the show is kind of going to be based on. And it's not really a spoiler to talk about this. There is a scene where all of these people are essentially having a meeting or at a circus, and it is the biggest names in crime in the MCU. Kingpin is there. Hammerhead is there. There are so many big people there, and I would not be surprised if we get that scene in the show and Sharon Carter shows up. Because doing this, becoming the power broker, and essentially being the ruler of Madripoor, she has kind of asserted herself as a huge threat. To the point where I want her to have a supervillain name, I want her to have a costume. I want everything. But yeah, I look forward to seeing what becomes of Sharon Carter and how they use this.
Who knows? She could get a superpower.
Well, speaking of that, I have 2 theories about Sharon that I'd like to bring up. Number 1, Sharon had access to the super soldier serum for a while. And during that fight scene, Sharon was doing pretty good back on Madripoor. Do we think she's a super soldier?
Well, she hasn't really. It's not really obvious that she's really that powerful.
I'm just saying she had access to the formula back when the dude was making it.
Yeah.
So she could be. Number two, I asked the question, is she a Skrull? Because now she's evil. And characters suddenly being evil is Skrull territory.
Sus. Sharon is the imposter.
And now we can get evil Skrulls, and then maybe when the Fantastic Four comes around, we can get Super Skrull.
I'm just saying, I think it's possible that she's a Skrull or a super soldier. Am I crazy, Callum? Am I crazy?
You don't think you are. Yeah.
No, we've seen Skrulls in actions before, so...
Because some of them have to be bad people. Not all of them can be good.
Yeah.
I mean, the Secret Invasion show is happening, so
Yes.
we gotta
I
set up
think-
some Skrulls.
This is kind of complicated with how it was introduced in Captain Marvel.
We'll see.
Which is good. Complicated is good.
I know, complicated is good, but it can
It
be
is
tricky. Hopefully it
interesting
works, hopefully
because-
it will.
Well, it's interesting because now we're gonna have bad Skrulls, but also good Skrulls like Talos. And I think that's cool.
Yeah. I think on your two theories, if she turns out to be a Skrull, that's cool. This is of all the characters I'm currently aware of in the MCU that they could do that reveal with, and I wouldn't be shocked at. I mean, I want to be surprised by some of the reveals, but that'd be the one that makes the most sense. As for her having the super soldier serum, again, like you said, makes sense. As the ruler of Madripoor, yeah, you'd want it. You'd want that enhancement. But equally, I quite like the idea of her being, taken from the show, a Zemo-type manipulator character in the background. A kingpin, as was brought up, of crime, rather than out there actively fighting.
You just
again, she had
reminded
her-
me of something.
Agent 13, she's a SHIELD agent. She had years of training with that as well, which can account for some of the fight scenes and whatnot we've seen her in. But
Yeah, you're right. It's possible she's just Sharon Carter, but I don't know. I feel like if I'm a supervillain and I have access to, essentially superpowers,
yeah,
I'd be like, oh yeah.
if
do
it's
this.
revealed down the line that, oh yeah, she took it at that point, I will have no issue with that whatsoever.
But you guys want to hear a very I can kind of segue to this. You guys want to hear something weird that happened to me while watching the show, speaking of Kingpin?
Sure.
Right.
So of course, speaking of like the super soldiers, the last of the power brokers that were enhanced got blowed up by Zemo's butler. But here's the thing. The way we are revealed to Zemo's butler is it's in like a car window that is circular, and it kind of obscures him ever so slightly.
It's the wing mirror first, and then you see it, yeah.
So when I saw the mirror, I start freaking out because I thought that was Vincent D'Onofrio. I thought that was Kingpin.
They do those are two exact plot moments that happen in the Daredevil show. It's like, yeah, prison convoy blown up and he escapes, or they're sitting in the
were
car.
in New York
obviously.
at that point.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh shit, Kingpin just blew up the fucking soldiers, and I was freaking out. I was getting ready to text somebody, and then we see it's Zemo's butler, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah. I didn't think of the Kingpin connection there. I thought Zemo's butler being there was quite funny. But had that been
really
just
come on!
to me.
can you imagine?
It broke my little heart for a minute. And of course, I'm not going to hold that against the episode. But God, that would have been cool if it was like he friggin' like gets on some sort of like walkie-talkie or something, and he's like, I'm already dealing with the devil of Hell's Kitchen. I'm not dealing with more superpowered freaks or something.
Yeah.
Gordon Ramsay?
Haha.
Yes,
Scottish.
Gordon Ramsay, the Daredevil.
Well, where Daredevil season 3 left off, Fisk was being shipped off to presumably not Rikers Island again, some other Supermax place, and most likely another raft because he's actually superpowered. But no, Kingpin, if we're following the Daredevil story, which we might not be, I'd be fully on board with just taking Vincent D'Onofrio and
Oh yeah.
I've forgotten his name, Matt Murdock.
I mean,
Just keep
yeah,
all the actors.
I forget
Foggy,
names,
all
too.
the actors from the Netflix shows. Bring
I met
them all
that
back.
dude.
Hey, Jack.
I'm
Remember
met
what
I
we talked about
didn't-
earlier before we start this video? Can we bring that up again?
What
during
was
the
that?
video? The Thanos theory?
No, not that. Not that. Something else. What
Sure,
was
I don't remember what it was, but go for it.
I don't remember either.
Oh, okay. Who cares?
You know what, Callum? Usually I have you edit the stuff out, leave this in. I want the world to know this happened.
Congratulations, Brooks.
I did like in the post-credit scene, she's referred to though as Agent Carter, like Peggy before, rather than Agent 13, which was previously. But I like that.
It
She
was
wasn't-
kind of a spit in the face,
She's
though,
a
just ever
disgrace
so
to the
slightly.
Carter family.
Yeah,
Well, here's the thing. We were
that's
saying,
the thing they say is.
You literally
Look.
kissed your own relative.
Callum, bigger things, buddy, bigger things.
Time travel.
I agree with you, but like, here's the thing. I think this show has taught us with John Walker, not everything is what it seems. So, is she going to be a villain going forward? Probably. But I still wouldn't say that Sharon Carter is unredeemable. That's Peggy
No.
Carter's granddaughter.
But don't forget that not everyone follows in their parents' footsteps.
That's true too. And I honestly am excited to see where this goes, but I don't know. Maybe she will just be a villain, and I'm okay with that. All right. Kid gloves are off. Isaiah Bradley this episode.
Oh,
You know how last episodes there was meant to be a cry moment? This almost got me this episode.
Oh,
No,
no.
actually, when I first saw, like, when he said, "Come at me," I thought he was actually going to give him a Captain America suit.
Mm-hmm. Like his. That would have been cool.
Yeah.
But in this version, I don't think he was Captain America specifically. I think he was just a super soldier.
Yeah, I had a look when you see the reading like the plaque that's at his wing at the Smithsonian. It is different from the comics. It says that he fought in the Korean War rather than World War II. So that is a slight change in things. I think that means that Isaiah, just for the timeline to work out, this might be a Spider-Man Homecoming issue of the 8 years and everything. But Steve was in World War II and everything when he went into the ice, which means that they'd already used the super soldier serum on him. So I think Isaiah in this situation, rather than being a proto Captain America, was an attempt to recreate after the fact.
Yeah.
Is what we're going with here. Which also works with the whole timeline thing of the classic issue of Magneto being a Holocaust survivor, meaning he's getting up there in age.
Before we
I
get
like
to
that
the
change.
moment, I think I left something out that we should mention before we talk about Isaiah, actually. So after the death of Carly, Sam gives what I would view as, he gave a speech in the last episode, but this is his first true blue Captain America speech.
Oh, this speech was amazing.
Oh, yeah. Who is writing for these Marvel shows? Because freaking...
Martin Luther King Jr.
Well,
That was a great line as well. How that's brought up.
here's the thing. In WandaVision, I was almost crying at the line, but what is grief if not love persevering? And here, we have like Sam saying live on TV in his debut as Captain America, if you have the power of God, don't you think you should ask the people you're going to affect and have them involved before you make your choice? And just him up there saying all these things that are so beautiful, warning people of the next Carly. Anthony Mackie is Captain America in that scene, dude. Like, he could have just been Steve Rogers if he wanted to be. I love how well these shows are displaying the acting. I'm loving it. We don't really get this in the movie, and of course everyone does great in the movie, but like I I'm just sitting there looking at this man embody this character I've known about my entire life. And it doesn't matter that his face is different. It doesn't matter that he's real. It doesn't matter that his skin is a different color. What matters is that is Captain America doing what's right. And as he said himself, he knows what's wrong with the world. He's a black man holding the shield. People will hate him just because he has it.
But
he's
people
still gonna
hate John
fight.
Walker, or people hating Russell for playing that role.
Okay, that's different. That's different. Those people are bad.
I know, but
Well, it's the same. The people who would hate Sam for picking up the shield are also bad.
After
I will
you're
say
done,
non-controversial.
I have one thing to say about Sam. It's just that
Yeah, Squid.
Remember when I was talking about this series about how it was building up Sam as next Captain America and how this got me into Sam and how it made me appreciate Sam and like him? I think that it did a well enough job of pulling it off from the execution, from training to be Captain America, from him thinking he's not worthy, and him finally just becoming Captain America with wings and just taking up the mantle. It's really great that Anthony Mackie just pulled off so great.
Oh yeah, he nailed it. And like to bring up earlier, I think Callum brought up War Machine could have been Captain America, and I fully agree with you, pal.
Yeah,
I think Rhodey would have made a great Cap, but what it comes down to is Captain America chose Sam Wilson, and he chose him for a reason. And while I think like Rhodey would have done an amazing job, seeing Sam give that speech and seeing Sam express to everybody, this is my side. I don't care that people are watching. In fact, I want them to watch. You're doing something wrong. And you need to be better. And I will say it straight to your face while holding the shield that represents your country. I love that. And I don't think Rhodey would have done that. I think Steve saw something in Sam that now, thanks to the show, we all just got to see too.
Yeah, yeah.
I agree. Rhodey would have made a good Captain America, but Sam's making a great Captain America.
That's
I think
a great
Rhodey, similar to John Walker, the whole military background, Rhodey, as we've seen, is much more in line with the government side of things. Colonel James Rhodes and testifying in court in Iron Man 2 and everything. He would have made a great Captain America, but Falcon Sam Wilson is making an amazing Captain America.
Jack,
just from this one episode in the role.
Jack, don't forget that actually Sam was in the military. Remember, he was in the parachute squad.
Oh, yeah, they both were.
True,
they both were. But now I think we can talk about the Doctor Who Isaiah Bradley moment.
I'm so glad you referenced that. Yes, Vincent and the Doctor, I couldn't not think of with that scene.
Okay. So I briefly brought it up. Isaiah Bradley is a character in the comics that at this point, since I read a lot of Young Avengers stuff, and I've read a lot of like comic books where people now know of this character and reference him all the time, it's a character that like holds a lot of symbolism to me. Like if Captain America is a symbol of everything good about America, friggin' Isaiah Bradley is a symbol of how bad it can get. And the fact that they erased him from history is so key to his character. And, you know, even though people now know about him in the current comics, there has never really been a moment where it's like, okay, but let's make sure he's never forgotten. And in that moment, Sam doesn't offer him, like, you know, a place. Like, he doesn't offer him, like, a job on the government to make things better. He doesn't offer him a SHIELD agent thing. He doesn't even try to make him a superhero, even though he's still a super soldier. He's just like, I'm going to correct the mistake that this world made. because I never want you to be forgotten. I don't want what happened to you to be forgotten. I want people to remember. I want them to learn from it. And I want you to be a name that changes people. And the tears Isaiah had and the hug he gave to Sam, just thinking about it gets me mushy.
Before we go on, just very well put there, Neil. That
Yeah, very well put. But
Bravo.
I think this was a tribute to the comics and to the original character.
Oh.
in a way.
Honestly, something like this, to my knowledge, and I'll be real, like, I'm a young Avengers fan, so I know more about Eli Bradley than Isaiah. So there's stuff I don't know. But to my knowledge, Isaiah's always been lost in history. And the fact that the movies have sort of gotten to a point that the comics haven't, where they're saying, hey, look, this guy existed. Can we please stop pretending he didn't? It's beautiful.
Yeah.
You know what? Actually, it's kind of like people are being first introduced to Isaiah, and they never knew about him in the comics, and they never knew that he was forgotten in the comics. It's kind of like symbolism about being forgotten and being first introduced. But now that he's being reintroduced to the world, because no one ever knew he existed in that world either.
I get you. It's a little meta. It's a little meta.
Yeah.
Yes,
I feel
in
it.
that sense, being a tribute to the comics, that now the character of Isaiah Bradley is immortalized via this show, and
Oh,
within
yeah.
the show's universe as well now, which is great.
Again,
Again,
meta
I'm
style.
not the opposite of you there, Neil, but I know nothing of his grandson and stuff. But since the show started, I have now read Captain America: Red, White, and Black is the title of his
I should keep that
debut
in
comic
future.
story.
Mhm.
Which is why I was like, oh, let me just break down and see if there's any differences in the story and stuff. There were slight things, again, that shifted him forward in time as to when the war took place, he fought in. But no, I'm super glad I learned about this character now. from this
Yeah,
show.
super
I think
glad. Yeah, damn.
Sam has become the Captain America, and the existence of Isaiah Bradley are my two biggest takeaways from this show.
He's the
And
hero
Zemo's
that we
great fun as
deserve
well,
and the
but-
hero that we need.
I gave episode 8 of WandaVision a 10 out of 10 because I said there were so many 10 out of 10 moments that I couldn't not give it a 10 out of 10. Like when they showed her backstory as a kid, when they showed her first meeting with Vision. Stuff like that. There was too much good in the episode to not celebrate it at the highest quality. And while I'm not giving this whole episode a 10 out of 10, Isaiah Bradley, the character being introduced, and these scenes, every scene he's in is a 10 out of 10 for me. The
So
first
does that
scene,
make it
the
a 50
second
out of 10?
scene, these scenes, he did amazing. What was that, Squid?
Does that make it a 50 out of 10? I'm sorry for interrupting.
No. My final rating is going to be lower than 10 for this show. But what I'm saying is,
Isaiah.
shout out to the man who played Isaiah Bradley and shout out to the writers because damn, you did God's work.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Want to bring up just a few things I took note of because of things we mentioned in previous episodes discussions. Neil, I believe you brought up in terms of the dynamics of this final fight scene. It's Sam as Captain America, wings, he can fly now. How are they going to make that interesting in a fight with everyone else and no one? He's the only character who can fly, which they have just another helicopter chase here, and I like those a little hard to see at times because it's at night. That they do make this visually distinct from episode 1's helicopter chase fight, which was in the middle of the desert at bright daylight. This was nighttime in New York City. Different enough, both really worked.
I did have a nitpick about this scene. Did you guys like? I thought the CGI, specifically when he first breaks through the window, and another point when he's chasing the helicopter, I thought the CGI was ever so slightly spotty. Like I think that's why they had it at night and blanked it in some dark shadow and stuff.
Clever.
I thought
Very
the helicopter was a little off. I think it's just something with like the reflection, like mapping and stuff on it. It looked a bit too shiny. But Sam S. Cap, I think, looked great.
CGI, whether it's bad or good, like as long as it isn't like Mortal Kombat levels of terrible, bad
It's
CGI does not. The original.
Yeah. Okay.
CGI does not usually bother me, but
It's
here it was just
psychological
like,
achievement.
well, it was weird to me because, like, you know, the first reveal of the suit when he's first breaking in the window was CG, and I didn't like that.
Yeah, see, but I gotta say, it's a technological achievement, but it doesn't do everything well. Right.
Yeah.
Also,
Don't
just
get me
before we
wrong.
move on, stop hating on the original Mortal Kombat. Some of the practical effects, like Goro and that was puppets. That was
Look,
brilliant.
I feel you. I feel you. I agree with you. I love the original Mortal Kombat. Look, reptile.
Yes. Okay. Also, I really like. I'm curious about the new suit, as we were talking about with Captain America here. I really like. He did it a few times, holding up the shield and using the vibranium wings, so just a massive shield surface area. Sorry, is there an echo? Are you guys hearing that?
Is that?
Yeah, I heard that too.
Yeah, sorry, that's throwing me off. But I really like the use of the wings. He makes a little sort of bunker on the ground at one point with them in the shields, and he makes, when he's fighting Carly, he makes a tripod using the wings dug into the ground. I love the increased versatility of these new wings. But my biggest question about this new suit: do we think the actual clothes of it are a vibranium weave type thing like Black Panther's in any way, or do we think he's just wearing the standard Captain America, a bit of Kevlar thrown in there?
I think it's both.
I would say that since it was made by Wakandans, I think, yeah, it probably is. It probably is. Obviously, this is not similar in any degree to a Black Panther suit, but
No.
if you compare it to the Adora Milaje, you can kind of see similar stitchings. I don't know. I think it's possible.
Yeah, I like that idea. Not that it's a fully fledged Black Panther suit, but that it's got some vibranium in there. It's a little bit more protective.
Yep, I agree with you. Cal, did you have anything specific you loved about this episode and wanted to bring up? Because you were being a little quiet, buddy.
Yeah, I suppose I have been a little bit quiet.
You're hunting rabbits.
I don't know. I think everything that's praiseworthy about this episode has been mentioned. I suppose that we could mention bits about the action scenes, like how he managed to get the hostages to cooperate, or the intensity of getting the hostages out, or John managing to do the heroics at the last moment, or Carly trying to justify her actions, but it's obvious that she's clearly just gone downhill. And Falcon showing enough compassion for her to get her to the ambulance. Bucky making up for ends. I mean, we've been mentioning a lot about Falcon. Obviously, this is Falcon's spotlight, but Bucky's had his own revelations as well. He managed to settle things with the old Chinese man from the first few episodes, confessing that. Yeah, Yuri, thank you. That
good that they didn't, show him bashing him out, like saying angry. It's good seeing that, not seeing that.
I can talk about that. I like it was left somewhat ambiguous. Yuri didn't say, "I forgive you for killing my son because you were brainwashed." And they're like, Bucky comes in, says his piece. They say it, they acknowledge it, and he leaves.
The last time we see him, he's drinking at the bar.
Yes, he's not
I like that
shot
scene.
away and everything. But I like that ending wasn't actively, hooray, everything's been resolved. Yes, it
was real.
He's crossed his name out of the book, and it was handled well.
Like,
he also managed to give some gift to. Sorry.
Go ahead, Cal. Sorry.
Sorry. He also managed to give a few gifts to the therapist. For all that he had to tolerate with, he found the heart in him to give a gift to her.
I think she did a good job. Honestly,
yeah.
I think she was a great therapist. But what I like about the scene with Yuri. And I was just going to call him the old man. So thank you, Jack, for bringing up his name. What I liked about that scene is that clearly Bucky can't walk into the restaurant because they didn't necessarily. I don't think he got forgiveness. I think he got probably chewed out. Maybe he didn't. Maybe just Yuri broke down and Bucky left. But in the end, it wasn't about Bucky getting forgiveness. It was about Bucky making right and letting this old man live his life.
And giving him closure was the big thing as well.
So just seeing him at the end, like having a conversation with the bartender, she's watching him and making sure he's okay, and he's out there living his life. I think that's enough.
I honestly thought he already confessed to this in the first episode, but I stand corrected in this part, yes.
Brooks, there's an echo, and I think it's coming from you.
That was my dog. I'm sorry, and I'm sorry for interrupting.
The dog made an echo?
That's
The dog's
terrifying.
barking right now.
No, we're echoing because of your audio.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Got a lot
But
of
it's
fun.
okay. It's okay. I think we're towards the end, so it's okay. So, before we go into rankings and final thoughts and stuff, this is another end of another Marvel show. How do we feel? Because I when we did WandaVision, I was kind of the minority because I didn't feel this way, but I know Callum specifically. For the most part, people who in the group when we did WandaVision didn't love the finale and thought it kind of dropped the ball at the end. So I'm wondering, how do we feel about this finale, but also Winter Soldier and Falcon as a whole? Do we think it earned the name of Captain America? Do we think it was good? Well, how do we feel?
Oh, it switched the titles
Yes,
at the
I
end.
think it did earn it. I think we believe it earned it. We believe that it was definitely probably one of the best shows that Marvel has ever made.
One of two.
One of two. Yeah, one of two. And already, that's actually already impressive since they just started doing it. I think since they kind of used the movies kind of like as TV shows, I think they kind of gotten used to like, or prepared for like making TV shows because they know that format.
This might be the best way to portray the MCU going forward, even stuff like Doctor Strange and the Multiverse, honestly, if they want to expand on characters and things like that.
I think we'll see. I think we'll see when Black Widow comes out and when Shang-Chi comes out, if like the TV show way is better than the movie way. But honestly, I like the idea of I get to watch some Marvel content at home and then I get to go see it in the theaters. I get my big movies that are like one adventure, and then I get my long shows that are several adventures.
Who knows?
Honestly, this show, like I've said it once or twice already, this show makes me so confident for the other projects moving forward. Because literally all they have to do a good Hawkeye show is do this again. Like have a cool sort of spy style thriller. Just do this again. You got a good Hawkeye show. Do like it looks like Loki's going to be amazing. And I haven't heard much about Miss Marvel, but they seem to have confidence in that too.
And Moon Knight?
I mean, Moon Knight is like not even filming yet.
Oh.
But I have so much confidence going further that like if there was ever a part of me that was like, you know what, maybe the MCU should have ended at Endgame, that's gone.
Yeah, maybe this is called the MTVU now.
Hey!
I mean, going forward, I'm confident that everything they do is going to be, if not good, interesting.
Like Tony Stark said, everything is going to go exactly as it should be.
I mean, we'll see. There are bigger threats out there. than Thanos. We'll see what's coming.
There's
in
literally
some
a
cases.
giant called Galacticus. Yes.
Yeah.
But
Talk about
This or Doctor
again,
Doom
so
or like
I opened the floor.
No,
here.
Doctor Doom's shorter than Thanos. What are you talking about, Squid?
what about
Oh.
Apocalypse?
Sometimes
try it
Doctor
again.
Doom is big. Sometimes.
Granted.
But I open the floor to you guys. What did we love about the show? What did we think was best? What do we think was the worst? Do we think there should be a season 2? Or do we think this was enough?
Well, I don't think there's that much bad in this. Do you guys agree?
no, hate.
I
But
have a
there's
couple
lot
nitpicks.
of good, and you point out of it, Neil.
Oh yeah, of course. I love this show, but you can still love something and see that there are a couple things wrong with it.
Yes, I do agree, but I feel maybe nitpicks. I gotta say at best.
Yeah, I have a couple nitpicks. Like,
Yeah.
Nitpicks.
I still think 2 montages in one episode was too much for episode 5. Like that really hit me hard. I think that, like, I love the character of Sarah, but I wish she would have had just a little more to do.
Aye.
But
Same
don't
with
forget the
Fury.
kids.
It kind of felt like first episode we'll set up all this stuff, and then we'll see nothing about it until the last couple of episodes.
Yeah. No, on the Sarah point. On the Sarah point, I think it'd be quite good potentially going forward in the movies and stuff now. Like how we have Clint with his family that pops up now and again. That will perhaps now with Sam in such a spotlight that we'll cut back and get some family stuff with him in the films going forward. I think having now established his family is a good precedent and it will set up for good dynamics in the future. Assuming they bring it up again.
The cookout scene at the end seems to suggest that, like, even though the mission is over, Bucky is going to be spending some time with Sam. Like, as friends, they're going to be closer. So, honestly, I would like it if a romance started between Sarah and Bucky.
Ow!
I think that's a great way to keep that character going. I think that Bucky having a love interest would be interesting.
It would certainly make for a better love interest than Sarah and Captain America.
Yeah, like that one kiss. Like,
Sharon.
You
what
can
was that
date
about?
somebody even though your mom shares the same name.
Sharon.
It's not weird.
Sarah!
Oh, by the way, I just want to correct myself real fast. In a previous video, I said Hawkeye's mother's name was Sarah. It is not. It is Edith.
Yes.
I
was trying to
slipped up. I was
trying to remember
thinking
in, in Red Skull's voice there. I'm like, who is it? Edith? Yeah, Edith. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I screwed up, and like one of my friends was like, "What's his mother's name?" And I was like, "Edith." And then I realized, oh shit, I said it was Sarah at one point. That was wrong.
Even dead, I'm the hero.
Wait. Sarah Connor was named after, like, Steve's mother.
Where are you going with this?
So maybe it is. That
Where you going
was
with this?
Steve's daughter.
I have no idea where you're going with this.
How does
Sarah
Terminator
Connor.
tie into this? What?
Sarah
You
Connor is
remember when
unrelated.
Steve went back in time and, married like Peggy Carter, and then they had children, and then maybe that Sarah name passed down, and then it was Sarah Connor. I mean, not Sarah Connor.
Where
are you going with this?
Where does Sarah
Where you going with
come
this,
into
Squid?
this?
I'm trying to say that maybe Sarah was a name that they passed down because of. Maybe I might be
Sarah
nuts. I don't know.
Connor doesn't play a role, Squid.
Sarah Connor is
Sarah Connor.
Terminator.
I mixed up. I'm sorry.
And that timeline's confusing enough as it is. We don't.
Captain America needs to chill out.
I
Yeah.
mean, Sarah Connor, man. Sarah Peggy Carter. Carter.
Bucky needs to go back to
Wait,
Wakanda.
I'm kind of getting what he's saying here now. Hold on, I'm coming to it.
Okay.
I get it now. You're referencing the fact that Peggy Carter's last name is Carter, similar to Sarah Connor.
No, I'm trying to say that.
Then I can't
remember,
help you.
Steve's mother's
You're on
name
a
is
ship
Sarah.
without a paddle.
Yes.
And that Steve's mother's name is Sarah.
Sarah Rogers, yes.
Sarah
And
Rogers.
that Agent 13's name is Sarah.
Sharon.
No, it's Sharon.
Oh, it's Sharon. Oh, I'm mixed up. Ah.
Callum, don't you dare edit any of this out.
You leave all of this. You
I'm
leave
sorry.
all of this.
It was so sorry. Stop.
This stays in.
Bum, 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 bum,
Oh,
So back to the thing we're talking about.
Yes, here's the thing. To change the topic. How many Red Wings were there this episode? I counted 2 different Red Wings at any one time.
Yeah, I saw like 3.
Yeah. I think my mate made a joke when we were watching it, so full credit to him if he ends up watching this.
it looks like
That
Neil,
there's
you're
Red
wrong.
Wing, White Wing, and Blue Wing. Red, white, blue.
I love that.
Yeah.
Hey, Neil, remember when you had that theory about that Therese was going to become a Falcon Man at the end? That
was
never
in this.
happened.
No, it was.
Oh,
You
In the
got
last
the wings.
scene, during Sam's speech, and we see everyone sitting watching it, Torres is lying on his stomach in some airplane hangar, watching the stream, with some soldering irons and stuff sitting around him, and some scraps of metal and stuff. And last we saw, he took the wings. So I think
He's getting ready.
he's well on his
he's
way.
not going to become like, what you want.
Look, honestly, I think we all owe
like
ourselves. I think we all owe ourselves a good pat on the back because I got the bird thing. Friggin' Jack got the Sharon Carter thing, and even Callum came in with the Captain Falcon joke that got referenced.
Falcon.
Oh, that was great.
Pat on the back to us.
What about me?
You said some shit about Sarah Connor.
I was gonna say that.
Torres.
Yeah, so I kind of like red, white, and blue wing. I hope that's actually a thing. But Callum, did you have any final thoughts? Maybe talk a bit more about like how you felt about some of the things you saw, maybe your favorite moment.
Well, this came out right after WandaVision, and comparing this to WandaVision, I'd say WandaVision had the better build-up. Like, WandaVision is one of the shows where the build-up was one of the best build-ups I've ever seen, and one of the things that helped with it was the mystery. Like, it made you click with it, especially having come out of the usual Marvel formula. Instead of the Marvel formula, you think, okay, we know where this is going. Like, you watch WandaVision, and you think, what's going on?
It's not the destination so much as the journey, so they say.
Yeah, it's the journey, yeah.
Agreed.
So, as with WandaVision, the finale kind of flopped, but here, the journey isn't perfect, but the destination was absolutely worth it. I think this show, Falcon and Winter Soldier, might not have a better build-up. Maybe some of it's could have been done better, like develop Sharon's character better, build up the mystery of the Stormbreaker, maybe a wee bit, give us some time with certain things and so on and so forth. But
Maybe not kill Batrock.
yeah, maybe that too. But the payoff was definitely amazing. Like seeing Sam put on the Falcon suit, seeing characters get revelations about each other, and a whole number of other things that I think the payoff was really well done in the show. And unlike WandaVision, this show does leave a few things up in the air, but unlike WandaVision, it didn't leave me agitated. Like, WandaVision left some questions open, and it left me thinking, no, wait, go back, I need these questions answered. Like, where did Boner come from? Like, how does this work? How does that work? But
Good pants, Callum.
Yeah. But with this show, it does leave some things purposefully in the air, but I'm fine with it. Even if it's a bit of sequel baiting, it's understandable. Like, okay, Sharon's in this position. It was Sharon. And characters have received the revelation that there's a bit more closure here, probably. And
I love how different the two shows are. I'm glad you brought WandaVision up because like they couldn't be any more different in tone, and yet in those human moments they couldn't be any more similar. Just the scene where Bucky is talking to Sam and Sam saying you gotta go do right by these people. You can't avenge. You have to help them. And you just look at like Vision talking to Wanda about grief. These two things are two Avengers helping each other essentially have better lives. And they're beautiful moments, and it's so cool to see that these characters, as Thor put it, are not just friends from work. They're a family. And with these specific characters, Wanda, Vision, Bucky, and Sam, that couldn't be any more true. Which is why the ending of both shows is either A, a celebration of family, or B, an unfortunate sacrifice of family.
I think that's pretty poignant.
Yeah, I mean, it's beautiful. And Loki looks like it's going to be fun. Like, Loki looks like it's going to be a break from this, like, very human storytelling. Although, maybe we'll get some of that with Loki, too. I don't want to, like, predict it before it comes out. But I've loved the ride so far, and so far, Phase 4 is gearing up. Like, this could be my favorite Marvel phase. We have two shows that are amazing so far.
Bearing in mind we are less than a year into Phase 4.
And I'm already saying it.
Wow, I mean that's
Already
amazing. Like really, Marvel's really pulling out the punches. They heard about the
I mean,
Marvel thing.
literally,
Let's pull
they
out
could-
big guns.
Don't get me wrong, Jack. They could fuck up. But so far, I love it. And I've never related to specifically these characters more. But yeah. Any more final thoughts?
I got some. Well, I
Go
got
ahead, Squid.
So the show as a whole is showing that the MCU still got some firepower, even if people lost faith after WandaVision. It's still showing that it's got the power. It's got the will to continue on, even though people want and people are sick of Marvel. They're sick of the formula. They're thinking it's nothing but theme park rides. Nope, we're showing you that's more than that. We're showing you that it can go to more levels beyond. It can show that it can go to more and more stuff that even you cannot possibly imagine. We can do a lot of stuff, you know?
I am going to remember that scene where Isaiah Bradley hugs Sam probably for the rest of my life.
Yeah, that was
Just
pretty
like I
awesome.
remember a very similar scene where Vincent Van Gogh learns about the world loving him in Doctor Who. They're very similar scenes, and I'm going to remember both for a very long time.
I cry at that scene in Vincent and the Doctor.
Every
It's so good!
What about the scene with the statue? What about not just, the hugging moment, but what about the scene with the statue?
That's all the one scene.
Yeah,
That's all
counts.
together.
That statue was and the fact that he, like, when he first sees it, he almost falls and Eli has to, like, hold him up.
I know.
I love this show so much. I love it so much. I want to give it a 10, but no, I can't. I can't give you a 10. I love you, but I can't.
And going forward, I'm curious, because it's in a show, though, again, MCU, very different from the Marvel Netflix shows, I don't know how likely we are to see Isaiah again. And if we don't ever see him again, I have no complaint.
Me neither. That's perfectly fine.
This was done brilliantly. But
Eli
I would
is
so
coming back.
love Eli 100% because of Young Avengers. But I would so love. Can you imagine? So think in X-Men: Days of Future Past when Magneto has lifted the stadium and he's giving his speech on the news cameras and everything, and you just cut to Peter and his family, just different mutants around the world sitting watching that speech on TV. I can imagine just down the line during some next big Avengers film, we get a similar montage to this episode of people watching on TV, and it'd be such a nice thing just to see Isaiah's reaction.
Oh yeah.
No attention is brought to it. It's just, yeah, during whatever event is going on, perhaps something else with Sam to make it relevant. We just get a bit, you're sitting in the cinema, and oh my gosh, Isaiah Bradley just showed up very briefly. Just a little
Jack.
cameo. I
I'm
don't want any more
love...
story. I just give him one cameo in a movie. That's what I want.
I'm with you. I would love to see him again. If we never do, I'm okay with it. However, I'm going to give you some hope here with Young Avengers, because, you know, it's possible that Isaiah could be in that and could potentially impart some wisdom on the team, or at least his grandson.
Yeah, that's a good point. If they do Young Avengers as a movie rather than a show or something, and each of them will have their family members that they can talk to and stuff, and in some cases, family they won't be able to talk to for various reasons.
Mm.
But no, I like that idea.
I have something.
Isaiah Bradley
this is going to be your final thought. Sorry for interrupting there.
Oh, sorry. But I hope that
go
he
ahead
becomes
and
a fan
finish off.
favorite.
Good.
I hope
What?
he becomes a fan favorite after this.
Oh, I think he already is. He is for me, at least.
Yeah,
Well,
it's a little thing I've seen around online, specifically on TikTok. A lot of like military veterans and people who used to work in the U.S. military and stuff really relate to Isaiah and even Wyatt Russell's. I forgot the character name.
John
Walker.
John Walker. John Walker.
Like the whiskey. Him being dishonorably discharged and his like speech to the military and stuff to the government's like, I did everything you told me I am, what you made me and everything. This show hits a lot of people. It's got a really, really wide demographic is the wrong word, but it hits a lot of people in a lot of ways. Reach, there we go, yeah.
I get you. Just like how WandaVision was about, like, it really united the family together, and grandkids, little kids, and parents could all watch WandaVision together. Here, it feels like it's like, this is going to go to specific people. People, of course, in the Black community, people who were soldiers, a whole different, like, just because of how real it is, people are relating to it. And I adore that. I hope this continues, because I love it when we go into space and hang out with raccoons. I do, don't get me wrong. But I also love it that, like, some of the most hard-hitting stories can be told in a little house with a garden in the back.
Oh, I loved him gardening as well, but that's something we came back to, and him lifting up the massive plant pot like it was nothing, because he has the serum.
My ranking, I give this a 10.
Oh,
Whoa!
nice. So this was a spectacular episode for you.
Yep.
Yeah, I want to give it a 10 too. With all of me, there's like a devil on my shoulder that's like, do it. But there's an angel like, you can't ignore the bad shit, bro. My angel on my shoulder talks weird.
Mom embracing the devil.
Callum, what are your final thoughts, and in them with your rating, of course?
Do it. As spectacular as the majority of this episode is, like, there are a few things, as you say, we can't really overlook. Like, there was hardly any build-up or any kind of attention put into who is the Stormbreaker, and why are they not giving Agent 13 a much character
This is the
development?
second time you've said it in this recording, and you said it last week. Power Broker. Stormbreaker is Thor's act. Okay?
Power Broker!
2 weeks in a row, man.
I keep mixing up the names. It sounds so
Her name is Carly, by the way.
What are the other running jokes?
He did this with WandaVision too. I don't remember what he called freaking Hayward. Oh, you called him Haley. You started calling him Haley, thinking like you directly asked me who is this character named Haley, and I was like, who do you think that is?
I feel you.
The Power Broker.
Final thoughts.
The person in charge. The Power broke.
Power
There
broker.
was hardly any build up, and cool action, cool character revelations. But I think there's a few things I could have paid attention to, like develop this and that a bit better, and maybe give a few things a bit more closure. But I think this is still satisfying. I could watch this show and watch it to its end and think, yeah, this was a satisfying story in and of itself. I mean, maybe there's a chance if you didn't know the rest of the Marvel story, this would be this is a cool story. But of course, the whole point of the show is it's meant to exist as a legacy piece. So as for my rating of this episode, I don't think I'd quite give this a perfect 10 out of 10, but this is one of the better episodes. I've noticed that the episodes got better as they went along. Even though Zemo was in the other episode, so
He was in this one. For
he
one
was in
scene.
this one. I'd probably give this an 8 out of 10, perhaps.
8 out of 10 is fair.
On par with the previous.
No, actually, scratch that. 8.5. I'm getting an extra 0.5 because that
Dear
Zemo dies there. Ooh, yeah.
An 8.5?
Yes, 8.5. Yeah, I can't
Yeah,
ignore the
that's-
stuff
that's
didn't quite
still a
build
good
up
rating.
well, but
Here's the
the
thing.
stuff it did well did amazing. Yes.
Here's the thing. I heard what you said and I agree, but I can't ignore it. I can't ignore a lot of the bad stuff because the stuff that was good was so good.
Yeah.
Like Isaiah Bradley is something I never thought we'd get to. And the fact that we've seen it and they told it well, blows my mind. All the little things that I was not expecting. I wasn't really excited for this show. I was excited for WandaVision because I like Vision. Here I was like, I'll watch it. I loved it. Which is why now I'm excited for just all the shows in general, because now I think they're all going to be good. But this show hit me in ways I was not expecting. It was wonderful. It was sad. It hurt me. And it gave me visuals I'm never going to forget. And this episode specifically carried that a lot. And Wyatt Russell nailed it. The man who played Isaiah Bradley nailed it as well. Anthony Mackie brung it. Sebastian Stan, you made me fall in love with Winter Soldier. Torres, I can't wait to see you in bird form. I love this show completely. I'm in it with these characters till the end. It has faults, and the episode has faults too. It's not perfectly paced. It's not 100% great. The Power Broker stuff was arguably a little bit forced. But I love this show. I love it completely. I'm going to watch it several times down the line. Not a 10 out of 10 for me, but for the final episode, I can give it a 9 out of 10. I've been giving 8.5s this whole time. I've been loving this show. 9 is great. 9 is wonderful. Your final thoughts on ranking, Jack?
Yeah, final thoughts. More or less covered everything I wanted to say about this episode. Again, almost cried at the Isaiah bit. So close. Almost got me with that. The GRC is backing off after everything that Sam said in his little speech and everything, and the actions of the Flag Smashers still made a difference, which, good for them, but how Carly went about it and everything. That was the thing, actually, before, just when the Flag Smashers were getting loaded in to be taken off to the raft, because they're enhanced, they're super soldiers. And that one person loading them into the truck says, "One world, one people." It's, oh, he's going to help them escape or something. No, Zemo's butler was ready and waiting to flick a switch and blow them up.
That was Zemo's butler. I didn't recognize
and
that.
Pilots, possibly as well. The guy who's flying their jet the whole time, I assume.
Well, Zemo is still working. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize that was Zemo's butler there. Sorry, thank you for telling me that.
That was Zemo's butler in the car watching them at that moment, and I presumably him because he then picked up the phone, and then we saw
laugh in the rift.
Cut directly to Zemo sitting listening to the news broadcast on the radio, which I'm surprised they get a radio. That's
okay. Now I'm imagining a really funny scenario. Oh, don't worry. I'll be back. I'll be patient in my prison. And if I'm not doing my work, my butler will be doing my dirty work for me. If you get my butler, then my butler's hirer will do the work for me. If you get my butler's hirer, you will get my butler worker's hirer's bodyguard.
In the words of mystery fans all across the world, the butler did it.
Indeed. That was great. Then for the series overall, yeah. Again, I wasn't here for WandaVision, but I think I have to say I enjoyed the experience of watching WandaVision more than I did Falcon Winter Soldier. But within this show, as it stands, I think, on a similar vein to that, I enjoyed this episode probably the most out of this season. Last episode, within a vacuum, looking at each episode individually and everything, I reckon last episode was probably the best. It was great for like, all the character building and everything, and just the slower moments. Objectively, that's probably the best. But I just really enjoyed the action this episode and the character beats. Isaiah, the costumes. I can say I'm getting a new thing. The moments with John were great this episode, and I'm looking forward to seeing him going forward. The idea of yes, the power broker Sharon. While I figured it out in advance of the reveal and everything, and I feel like that was basically floating around everyone's head. I doubt anyone was taken off guard by that reveal this episode. But in a similar way to this being John Walker, U.S. agent origin story, I think this was also setting up Sharon to be the power broker, to be this bigger threat going forward. Wasn't handled great in this show, but it's laying the groundwork for what I hope will be great down the line. We'll see on that. Right, I think giving this episode a rating, I was pondering giving this a 9 and jumping up to that again. I agree, not a 10, because again, some action and some of the beats were a little bit janky and a little bit off. But all in all, I think I'm going to give this episode an 8.5 as well. I think I really, really quite enjoyed watching this. I'd give it an 8, but similarly, I was so close to shedding a tear with that Isaiah Bradley bit. That has to get at least a 0.5 bonus. If I had, it'd get a whole extra point. But yeah, that's an 8.5.
That was the crying moment.
Yeah.
Lord in heaven.
All those points added up gives us a 36 out of 40.
And only 4 in it.
That's a high score, of course. So overall, that means episode 1 was a 27 out of 40. Episode 2 and 3 were both 28s. Episode 4, 32. Episode 5 took a little dip to 31.5. And then a jump up to 36 here for the finale.
So consistently, I guess episode 5 was kind of the exception to this because it seems to have lowered. But,
by 0.5.
Well, yeah, you know, it seems like it got better with every episode. You know, God, I'm so ready for the future. How do we feel about the gap now? How do we feel about the fact that Loki's not till June?
Like I said last week, I'm fine because I've got the Bad Batch to tide me over.
Can we, hang out with the Bad Batch?
Well, essentially,
talk about me and Jack.
Oh yeah, we can hang out with the channel and stuff. We can talk about it. Yeah.
I did ask people like during a stream, what should we do like with the show? I guess this will be a little powwow saying what's going forward with Disney+Pals. And what essentially the chat was like is they said, there are a lot of weeks leading up to Loki. So if we keep doing weekly content, there's a lot we can cover in that time. So we've been asked to cover some of the classics, some of the Disney rom-coms, and people really want us to do an episode of Jeff Goldblum.
Yes, I love that show.
Goldblum, really.
I think that's a good call, breaking up the episodic nature of these videos right now, doing some different content. That's a good call.
Yep. So we'll probably decide that the cast will probably be shifting quite a bit. We've already got most of the cast for Loki picked out, to the point where I'm now like thinking about people for What If, because I assume that's next.
I believe so. I think technically Black Widow comes out in between, but
Oh yeah, Black
in terms
Widow.
of the shows.
So have a
I
cast for.
What we should do through the next several weeks is focus a little bit away from Marvel. Otherwise, this is just going to become like a Marvel show. This is Disney Plus content. We need to spread
I
it. I
agree.
think Jeff Goldblum's a good idea.
So no Star Wars still, no Bad Batch.
We might do a
That's
Star
also
Wars,
a good idea.
We'll
just,
see.
just because the only thing Star Wars we've reviewed so far is the Lego holiday.
Lego Christmas special.
Oh,
I think
yikes.
both seasons of The Mandalorian are long overdue on this channel, and we could do Bad Batch. We could do some other content on here, and Jeff Goldblum. I think yes.
I think because first of all, I want to get Cher back. So what I broke it down to is counting Cher. There are 5 of us here right now. So I think each of us should get to pick one thing
To subject to the others
during the
too.
time. Yeah. So it can either be your favorite thing on Disney Plus. It could be like a weird thing on Disney Plus. I'm half tempted to make everyone watch Fuzz Bucket. But from this point on, everyone here has one pick of something we could cover. And also, we're probably going to do an episode of Jeff Goldblum.
From now on. Yes.
Cool. Falcon and Winter Soldier. That's what this video is meant to be on. Anything to end this up on? We got a joke. We got questions.
Well,
The
let's end it
Falcon
on a final
Winter Soldier,
question,
they-
which will the final question this time around will be, you know what was, let's reflect on the show as a whole. What was your favorite moment, your favorite scene from this show?
Favorite scene? Ooh, that's a good question.
I think Jack should go first.
Oh no. Okay. I'll think out loud. I want to say something with Zemo, but and actually that's a negative of the show that I hope will be rectified going forward. He only wore the mask once. So I if I was to pick something with him, I'd be torn between including his fight with the mask, and it looks like he's getting in a car and driving off. He comes and picks them up, and they'll get in and everything. Zemo had a lot of fun moments scattered throughout, so it'd be tough to pick a specific scene for him. So I'm gonna unfortunately disregard Zemo moments.
Hi, Zemo.
Yeah, I think, and it's probably just because it's fresh in my mind, but the moment that affected me the most. Oh no. I was going to say Isaiah at the Smithsonian, but Sam's speech this episode was really good.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to say Isaiah at the Smithsonian.
We
say
saw
that.
it here where I was able to talk about the in-depths of that speech and like him becoming Captain America. I feel like I could talk about that forever, and Isaiah, of course. But I agree with you. Did you pick the speech or Isaiah?
The Smithsonian I'm picking, yeah. Isaiah's last bit, yeah.
Well, I agree with you. Those are both really great moments. I think the Isaiah moment might be my favorite as well. So I think I got to pick something else now. And you know what?
Any of the other Isaiah scenes?
Well, here's the thing. Honestly, when I think of the best scene of the show, I think of those 2 scenes, but then I think of a third scene. I think of the man who sullied the legacy of Captain America's shield with blood, redeeming himself by choosing to throw away any hopes of him being Captain America and saving the people. I just love the scene where John Walker looks at Carly, can chase her, and doesn't. He tries to save the people, putting himself in danger
throwing
standing on
away
that
the
wooden
shield,
scaffolding.
throwing away his
Mhm.
medals to go and save this as well.
It was a moment where I was like, I thought I knew what was going to happen with this character. I thought he'd go bad, and he'd essentially be the final boss. It felt like they were building to that. But no, he's not a bad man. He just did some stupid shit in anger. And I feel like we can all relate to that.
Yes. May I go next?
You can go next.
I think that maybe you guys took a lot of favorite scenes, but I think that maybe
All from this one episode, by the way.
yeah, I know, but maybe I'm gonna choose either maybe probably when Aizawa, I'm gonna pick between when Aizawa either first introduced or next time he talked to Sam about how hard it was for him when what happened to him and what he dealt with and how he got screwed over by the American government and how heartbreaking it is. And I also want to choose when Falcon just first came in as Captain America, but I'm just going to go with the soul crushingness of the scene with Isaiah revealing to Sam how soul crushing it was.
I agree with you so much. When he looks into friggin' Sam's eyes and say, they put my ass in jail, I was like, damn. But I agree with you. There's so many good moments in this show. Like, me and Jack have specifically picked from the last episode, which I think is arguably the best one.
Based on our rating.
But the show is full of those little moments to the point where it's kind of hard to pick between them. Callum, what is your favorite scene? And if you pick Zemo dancing, I will not be mad at you.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that. I literally made a video called How to Zemo Dance, and it's gone somewhat viral with, as of right now, over 760 views and 46 likes.
You
Well
taught
done.
the world what they needed to know.
Yes, now you too can dance awkwardly like a Marvel villain. So there's that scene, of course, as well as any scene with Zemo. He's just a fascinating character. I think there's particular scenes with particular characters I enjoyed throughout the series. The ones with Zemo, the ones with John Walker, and the ones with the therapist. Honestly, I think she did a great job of diving into the what was going on with Falcon and Sam. Other scenes, whenever Sam was at home with his family, and any scene with Isaiah especially too, like that was astounding. I think it's hard to pick a definitive favorite, though the dancing is up there. Yes.
Fair.
I mean, I agree with you. This
No
is such a
one
loaded
mentioned
show.
it, and I do have my own problem with some of the editing of it. But the John Walker scene with the shield as well definitely deserves an honorable mention.
Oh yes, that was when everything shifted.
Yes.
I also want to give a shout out to the scene where frickin' they fight him, just sort of the beginning where Sam is actually talking sense to him. And plus, there's so much we didn't bring up. Like, that's how good this show is. None of us mentioned the Adora Milaje. And they were fantastic.
I think the thing is with this show, when it's great, it's great. It has standout scenes and moments.
Yes.
But a lot of the in-betweens are kind of slow. For me, Bucky and Sam's chemistry wasn't always there. Some of the witty banter didn't quite land or fit. But episode 5, their relationship worked that episode because they took the time. It had slower moments. They were great in that. But some of the witty banter, like I said, didn't quite land for me. Which is the thing, actually, this show, the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, or as they said at the end of this episode, Captain America and the Winter Soldier, which is a nice little touch. I felt this was a lot more of a show about Sam Wilson, more so than Bucky. He got some good bits, again, with the Dora Milaje coming in and everything, and getting his flashback where he cried, and that was great. And then at the end, but it felt very much, we found out what was going on with him in episode 1. Cool, we know that's happening, we know that's happening, okay, it's resolved in the finale. I feel like if they do a season 2 of this show,
more Bucky.
It needs to focus more on Bucky to balance it out. I enjoyed it. This was the most I've felt for Sebastian Stan's Bucky in the entire MCU so far. But Sam got a lot more of the spotlight here.
Leave them wanting more, my friend.
Oh, yeah.
Is this called Falcon and Winter Soldier?
Yeah,
well,
Falcon got some billing there.
Now we have to end on a joke. And I think there is no perfect joke to end on than the fact that Captain Falcon was mentioned by name. So I'm excited for his solo film and spinoff. I also want to briefly flash back to Squid talking about Terminator, because the visual in my head, because I made all of these jokes about Paul Bettany in a dress, was literally like Paul Bettany Vision's face melting, turning into the Terminator face while wearing a dress that says cameo. And that's the joke we'll end on. Bye.
Nice.
Bye.
Are we done? Are we done? Did you turn it
We're
off?
waiting. It's still recording on my end.
I'll kill you, Callum. I'll kill you. I'll kill you. Turn it off. I'll kill you. I'll kill you.
Why is it still going?
Did Callum die? What happened?
Callum, did you have you stopped the recording?
I'm not hearing the music.
No.
Music?
I literally put on the Zemo dance music.
Oh.
Sorry.
You gotta edit that in.
Okay, everyone do the Zemo dance.
I'm dancing, you just can't see it.
And by the way,
Captain
actually
America
should be
throws his
called,
mighty
Captain American and White Wolf.
Now is still recording.
Turn it
So
off, Callum!
We made the joke.
You ruined everything!
You maniac.
You maniac! You blew it up! Damn you!
See you guys in Loki.